Hello, everyone. It's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland Reviewer, and it's Lost in the Wasteland. And I have my new guest for, I guess, episode 4 now, Paige, who is a
Hi.
very, very close personal friend of Jess, my significant other, and also we're friends now too. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about her love for the movie The Lighthouse. And
Wait, are we seriously? Oh no. Okay, yeah.
Lighthouse only has to come up if you want it to. So we'll leave it at that.
This is your
But
channel, Shane. If that's what we're doing, that's what we're doing. I'm ready.
so I'm going to be asking you some questions, and leading up to the end when you get to ask me one question.
Okay.
So, starting off pretty straightforward, what's
Okay.
your favorite film?
All right, I was ready for this one.
Okay.
I looked at the Wikipedia page to refresh my memory. So, I think my favorite movie is The Witch, directed by Robert Eggers. Have you seen it?
Yes, I
You've
have.
seen every movie.
I
What the hell
just,
kind of a question is that?
fun fact, I just wrote about it for Sif Pop.
Oh, really?
Because last week our best ever challenge was top 10 films with witches in it.
Oh, for Halloween?
Yep. So, well, specifically because The Witches came out last week on HBO Max, the new Roald Dahl
Oh, right.
adaptation.
Yeah.
But yes, The Witch is creepy.
Yeah. Yeah. So can I expand upon why it is
Why
my
is The
favorite?
Witch
Okay.
your favorite film?
So several reasons. It touches on basically all of my areas of interest, like academically and personally. So, it's set in what I believe 17th century New England.
Good time frame there.
Yeah.
I think so.
I mean, it wasn't really good for anyone except maybe the white men, but even then, like, they all starved and, had religious fanaticism.
It's the rich white men. They
Yeah,
were the ones who were well off.
yeah, that's how it always is. But I'm very interested in European history, specifically British history. I really enjoyed the fact that Robert Eggers painstakingly researched every single detail about like historical clothing, historical like methods of building, historical speech, like everything is as historically accurate as he could possibly make it.
Mhm.
Which is a huge when films are historically inaccurate, that's a huge pet peeve of mine.
So you
So
don't love Braveheart.
I don't think I've seen Braveheart because I Mel Gibson just turns my stomach as a human being.
Fair.
So
Most historically inaccurate film. I think they did the research. Most historically inaccurate film of all time,
oh,
Braveheart.
really? So I actually have you ever heard of one of my favorite YouTubers? Her name is Bernadette Banner.
I've not.
Yeah, so you should look at her channel because she is a fashion historian and also makes like her own historically accurate clothing. And she did a YouTube video about like historical inaccuracies in movies, and one was Braveheart. And she said, she was like, this is just like ridiculously inaccurate. But however, conversely, since it was set in 10th century Scotland, the historical, resources to research period dress are pretty much non-existent. So they just kind of had to make it up.
It's fair.
Yeah.
And they don't have huge expectations for dad movies either. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think very few people, especially in 1994, would have been sitting there and being like, well, is that dress historically accurate? Is the fabric correct? Like, you know, I don't think people cared as much about that stuff then.
I
But
think
what do I
one
know?
of I think one of the things I really appreciate about The Witch is like they speak how things were spoken then. It might
Yeah.
if you're just like a casual moviegoer, The Witch isn't for you.
No, I agree. I definitely agree.
It's like you probably
Um,
won't know what they're saying.
yeah. Yeah. Which I think I mean, I really like it because I'm a nerd, you know, like I'm a nerd for that type of historical accuracy. And but I do think there's an argument to be made in terms of accessibility, you know, to the average moviegoer, which sounds condescending. But you're right, like it's not really a movie you can just kind of pick up and watch. Like I think you do have to have at least a basic understanding of 17th century Puritan speech and history. And I think that is both a positive and a negative of the film. You know, I'm all about accessibility, and I don't think it's very accessible, honestly, in terms of speech at least.
Well, honestly, what makes it better is you just have to like get the baby, get all the blood, just rub it all over yourself, and you'll enjoy the movie much more.
Well, I mean, maybe, you know, that's up for debate, but I didn't really take that movie as an endorsement of baby sacrifice. But, you know, it's open to interpretation.
It is an endorsement to live your life deliciously, though.
Yeah, definitely. I got a t-shirt from Monster Mania, a horror convention,
Nice.
that says like would thou like to live deliciously? And nobody gets it. I
I
wear it
get it.
sometimes. You'll get it. I'll wear it. I'll wear it next time I come over your house. But you're the only one. Yeah, so okay. We went on a tangent, which is fine, but the historical accuracy, love that. Obviously I'm very interested in witchcraft, both personally and academically. But I don't, you know, I think obviously the view of witchcraft presented in that movie is not, I'm not an expert, but I would say it's not accurate in terms of actual witchcraft, but I think it is very accurate in terms of how Puritans perceived witchcraft. You know, like witches don't really worship the devil, as far as I know. I've never done it.
They will hang out with a black goat, though, right?
I mean, goats are cute. I'll hang out with a black goat. Like, you know, I'll feed it grass or whatever. Like, but not, you know, not in terms of he's not like my accomplice in black magic, like if that's what you mean. Um, but you know, and I think I also appreciated how the movie is willing, how should I say this? It's willing to make the viewer very uncomfortable. I think there's many moments in the film that are just, I wouldn't say scary, but like viscerally nauseating
And unnerving.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, that's really hard. It's really hard to do, I think, without resorting to cheap, you know, like Saw levels of gore and, you know, a literal bloodbath. Um, so I really like the atmosphere. I think it's really effective. You know, you're like nauseous the whole time, but you can't really articulate why.
This is why we watch A24 horror movies.
Yeah, exactly. I love, you know, being haunted by a lingering sense of revulsion long after I've finished a film. That's my favorite pastime.
And I'm pretty sure it's Eggers as well, since he seems to be very good at it.
Yeah, and ironically, I think it's so funny, you know, your viewers will not know, but it is a running joke between me, Shane, and his girlfriend that I despise Robert Eggers' other film, The Lighthouse. Like, truly, I hated it. Like, it's one of my least favorite films. So I think it's just funny that, you know, he can direct, in my opinion, such like a masterpiece, and then the next movie is just like hot garbage, I think. But
They should have just kissed.
they should they should have just kissed. But that's not why I don't like it. I mean, it is a reason why I don't like it, but that's just I'm aware that's my own bias, if you will.
Well, and that's film, and that's why I'm enjoying doing these little interviews, because everybody has different perspectives.
Yeah.
Like, I have
Oh,
literally like Mad Max things everywhere. I love Mad
yeah,
Max.
I love that. Oh, is
And
that in like your movie closet, your
like,
movie room?
got my office here.
Yeah,
Like, my giant wall of movies are right here that I film
yeah.
most of my videos in front of when
Oh,
I'm
cool.
not using my laptop. But
Yeah,
the witch is right over there,
love
and the
that.
lighthouse is right over there. So,
Uh,
and I'm looking forward to Egger's next film, which apparently is about Vikings,
it's called The Northman or The Northmen, I believe.
something like that. I'm sold. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. Like I'll never not watch another film of his because I think, I do hate The Lighthouse, but I think there is something to be said. His films are never boring. Or not, well, I thought The Lighthouse kind of it dragged in places, but I think it was I left the theater just, exhausted and exasperated. So it still did provoke an emotional reaction in me.
Mhm.
Um Oh wait, there was one more thing I wanted to say about The Witch though.
Go ahead.
Which that I also think that I from a social work therapy perspective, I'm a social worker. Um I I think I found the family dynamics also fascinating. Because I think, of course, 17th century New England, the idea of a family was very different. But I think there are some family dynamics that are universal, and that kind of are relatable to modern audiences too. Um, like I think I really liked the. Can I say spoilers?
Spoilers.
Okay.
Spoiler.
I mean, it's not. I don't know. No one's ever gonna watch The Witch because it's too much. But when their baby son is kidnapped and disappears in the beginning, I really the portrayal of the family's grief and how they kind of turn on each other, but also are bound together by their grief. And I thought also that I don't know if you think this, but I think it was also implied that she was having like some postpartum depression or like some kind of issue related to having like a million kids in 12 years, like, so I think there was definitely some implication of that.
I think
But I really
I was just gonna say, hearing a lot of feedback.
oh, okay.
Um, I like the scene later in the film where the mother's like having that like hallucination, and really
Oh my god.
something else is feeding on her nipple. And
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
that scene kind of just captures where her mind has been lost into. And
That was
yeah,
revolting. Like I literally
sure
gagged.
is.
Yeah. Um yeah. That was takes a sick person to come up with that kind of thing, which is a compliment, No shade to Robert Eggers, but that was nauseating. Yeah. So I think it's such a wonderful movie, and it has memeable lines in the end, even when Satan's like, do you want butter, and it's like, damn, okay. um I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, 10 out of 10 movie, my favorite.
I love The Witch,
Yeah,
and I will continue to watch it and be completely unnerved by it, like 99% of A24 horror films.
yeah,
Because if you have Eggers and Ari Aster together, just making some of the most demented things that people can watch, then A24 is gonna just keep on making them.
yeah. I mean, yeah, honestly, uh, yeah, I would also put Hereditary up there too with one of my favorite movies because, again, sorry, spoilers, but that shot of the girl's decapitated head covered in ants in the desert is one of the most horrifying things I've ever seen in my life, in real life, in a movie. Like it's hard to shock me because I watch literally every horror movie that I can, and I I had nightmares about it. Like it was one of the most like effective shots in cinema I think I've ever seen.
I'm gonna show you.
Oh, you're gonna. Oh God. Oh, put a trigger warning. It's like, it's actually horrifying.
I think what makes Hereditary work so well is the fact that for 2/3 of the film, this movie is going to emotionally devastate you from just a purely human drama perspective.
Hmm.
And then at the moment that you have nothing left in your tank, then this movie just goes to the wall
Oh
with the supernatural elements. And you're just in a state of like, I can't handle this now. Like, this is going to destroy me.
yeah.
And
Oh my God. That's yeah the perfect way to describe it. Like I literally walked out of the theater like sweating. Like I had to take a nap. Like I was just. It was devastating, truly. And like, I get pretty emotionally invested in movies easily. Like that's not hard to do. Like I'll cry at like a baby commercial, but like it was it engaged me on another level that was just visceral. Horrible. I'll never watch it again. I don't have the strength, especially not after 2020.
I Hereditary is right down there.
Oh
And
yeah.
I have Midsommar over there. Time to just watch all four of them in a row.
No. Oh my, yeah, if you're trying to make yourself suicidal or homicidal or both, why not both?
Turn into Willem Dafoe from the Lighthouse.
Oh my God. Okay, can we talk about how much I hate The Lighthouse? Was that your next question? My least favorite film?
My next question was actually, what's your earliest memory of going to the movies? But
Okay.
if you
Well, I can't answer that, but I really want to talk about how much I hate The Lighthouse because I think your viewers might find it as hilarious as we do, but they probably won't. But we think we're funny. Like me, you, and Jess think we're funny. So maybe other people will too.
I find myself mildly amusing.
Yeah. Okay. What is my earliest memory? Like of going to the movies or just
Mhm.
watching a movie?
Going to the movies.
Okay. I think that would be. I don't even remember the actual. It's funny, like I don't remember the actual movie, but I do remember the experience of sitting in the dark theater. Like I had a soda, a popcorn, and I just remember being, the screen seemed unfathomably huge to me because I was like a little kid, and I think I more remember the overwhelming feeling, like the excitement, sitting in the dark, having snacks, and like just getting like hit in the face with all of this like stimuli. Um, but the first movie I can like the movie itself I can remember seeing is The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, which I saw with my dad, who is a big Lord of the Rings fan, and that was that was cool. I remember being scared by the orcs because I was like 8 at the time. I don't know why my dad took me to this.
Well, like watching Lord of the Rings, like Peter Jackson was a horror director.
Yeah, yeah, he like Heavenly Creatures. Well, that's sort of a horror movie.
I think it's like Brain Dead or something. He did
Hmm.
like way back in his Kiwi days before he left New Zealand.
Yeah,
But like I remember seeing Fellowship of the Ring in theaters too.
hmm.
And my aunt didn't look up how long the movie was. So we had to leave
Oh
right
boy.
when Frodo gets stabbed by the cave troll. And then like I heard like, oh, you didn't miss that much after that. There's like an hour left in the movie.
Yeah, what? No. Oh my God. Yeah,
Missed so much.
you missed. I don't know.
And Lord of the Rings is my favorite film, them together. And
Oh,
I
okay.
I remember seeing all three of them in theaters very distinctly. 2001 was an interesting year going to the movies because I saw that and Shrek.
I thought Shrek came out in 2002. No?
Came out in 2001 and
Oh.
lost to Monsters, Inc. for, I know, no, beat Monsters, Inc. for Best Animated Feature. And because I remember it was that, Monsters, Inc. and Jimmy Neutron.
Oh, yeah, they made it look, and it was a different time. It was the dark ages. Animation was, you know, I don't feel like it was taken as seriously back then.
Well, Pixar was still young, and Monsters, Inc.'s my favorite Pixar movie, and Shrek's one of my favorite films of all time, so I'll die on that hill. But, like, I could quote the whole entire movie. I won't, I promise.
Thank you. I was going to say, like, I thought this was about me.
It is about you. So, I also remember the magic of seeing Lord of the Rings in a theater.
Yeah, it's so good. But I think seeing it in a theater is just, I personally feel like that's the only way to watch it, honestly.
My friend and his dad went to go see all three of the extended editions in theaters when they showed them in theaters. And I'm like,
that's dedication.
That's like next level.
Oh my God. That's what, like 12 hours?
Yeah, about.
Yeah, I've seen all the extended editions, and yeah, it's a journey. You gotta prepare yourself. Put on a backpack full of trail mix and prepare yourself.
Be prepared for that long. Now, what is your favorite genre of film?
Oh, horror. I don't even think about that.
What about horror films do you love so much?
I figured that was the follow-up question. I figured you were just like, all right, peace. Nice talking to you. So I think I've always had a fascination with, is it macabre or macabre? I don't know.
I think it's macabre. But they just don't pronounce the actual R-E at the end.
I feel like I've heard it pronounced both ways, but whatever. You know what I'm talking about, the macabre. I've always been fascinated by that. I got in trouble in middle school for reading like Silence of the Lambs during, free reading time. Loved books about serial killers because I was an edgelord, when I was like 13. But I think it's just it's almost like sensation seeking behavior in me. Like, I just like to see what the most extreme thing people can come up with, and just see how fucked up people can get, like just out of sheer curiosity. Which I feel like, as I'm saying this doesn't really make me sound very mentally stable or like normal, but that's my honest answer.
Well, I think one of the magical things about film is that you can challenge so many things with it, and you could bring so many things to life, and you can look at the deep, dark side of people and humanity and present it in a way that somebody can take it in and see how it challenges them and how it makes them feel. Because there's been a lot of films about serial killers, and of course, Silence of the Lambs.
Love that.
The lamb stopped screaming, Clarice.
Oh my God, stop!
And horror has been around since the early days of Hollywood. Universal horror monster movies, watching Dracula and Frankenstein, and
yeah,
you have Hammer horror. And I had, in the before the pandemic, I had been doing a monthly show with my friend Matt, and it was just we'd pick a topic and we talked about the state of horror films. And because horror has come a long way, and I feel like today there's very specific kinds of horror. like A24 horror is its own subgenre of horror because it's just the kind of film that will get in your brain and never leave you and just leave you wasted in emotional
Yeah.
wreck afterwards.
It's almost like I would call it almost like, what would I call, like psychologically abusive horror? Like that's what I would call A24. That's the genre, you
Well,
know.
and then you have Blumhouse, which is like very
Mhm.
pulpy kind of horror movies, and like not surprised that they're making more Halloween movies because
Yeah.
that seems like something Blumhouse would 100% do.
Yeah.
And like there's a whole entire Conjuring universe. And
I don't know. I mean, I know there is. I don't like them.
this is not a thing. Excuse me. The Conjuring universe is not a thing. I will not let it happen.
I deny its existence. I don't believe in it.
Well, like I love the two Conjuring films. And then there's so many spin-offs at this point. Some
Yeah.
of them are straight trash.
Yeah.
And some of them are solid efforts. And
they tried their darndest.
and like I love Mike Flanagan. He's probably one of my favorite horror directors, and he does the Haunting series on Netflix. Haunting
yeah,
Hill
yeah.
House and Bly Manor.
Yeah.
God, Hill House messed me up.
Yo, I agree. I couldn't even finish it actually.
All I have to say is a car. Did you get that far?
Well, I cheated. I read a synopsis online, but I was just like, at the time in my life I was watching it, I was like, I just can't, I need something more cheerful. Like, I think I ended up watching, like, I don't know. What's something cheerful that I watched? I actually can't tell you. So,
Did you just go to the Netflix cycle of watching The Office or Friends or something like that?
no. You have to edit that out. I'm like choking to death.
Okay.
To edit out my untimely demise. I forget what I was gonna say. Oh, because I'm an edgelord and very just contrary for the sake of being contrary. I don't like Friends or The Office.
That's fair. Now, who is your favorite filmmaker?
Okay. I guess I'd have to say Stanley Kubrick because I'm just kind of thinking, I think he's the only director where I think he's made like multiple masterpieces, like in my opinion. Like there are lots of movies that I love, but I can't think of anyone who, like, almost every one of their movies I'm just like, like Chef's Kiss. Even his old movies. What was the war movie that he made?
Paths of Glory.
Paths of Glory. Yeah, I even
Hmm.
like that one, and I have no love for World War One.
Nor does the film.
Yeah,
So.
well, I mean, exactly. Also, I would say, even though I think he's I feel weird saying this because he's obviously like a horrible human being, but Roman Polanski, again, like I think he's made amazing films, but like he's also a child rapist, so like I don't know, like I don't support that, obviously.
You can have a whole entire conversation specifically about can you split the art from the artist.
Oh yeah.
And he is case number one.
Totally, dude.
Because like you can't argue against his work on like Rosemary's Baby and all the films that he created and Chinatown.
Repulsion. That's my favorite one.
And it's like, and you look at Stanley Kubrick, he was a horrible person.
Okay, but he wasn't like a child rapist though.
No, he just emotionally abused all of his actors.
Yeah. No,
So,
which is horrible, but like I'm just saying on the scale,
not the same level.
it's not.
Like you have the Roman Polanskis, the Kevin Spaceys, the Mel Gibsons, where you're
Mhm.
kind of just like these
Uh,
people. And but the thing is, it's like I love Kubrick. What are your thoughts on Eyes Wide Shut?
oh, okay. I don't know where it gets hate. I feel like it gets hate, but I love Eyes Wide Shut.
I think it was very unexpected from Stanley Kubrick. And then if you really think about it, you shouldn't be.
Yeah, no, like all of his movies are real fucked up, and like it's just, and I don't know. I think I think something about Stanley Kubrick's movies, and I would even say this about like his comedy, like what was the one, Doctor
Dr.
Strange?
Strange.
I can't, yeah, I couldn't remember for some reason. But like I feel like even like that comedy that he made, all of his movies have such like a creeping sense of dread. And like even Doctor Strangelove, like it ends with the world ending. Like there's still that like creeping sense of like, oh shit, like these people are so incompetent, they're gonna fuck everything up. I mean, I don't know if that was intentional on his part. Probably. He was a genius, but
Feels a little too close to home.
oh my god. Isn't this supposed to be a lighthearted romp of a video and not like, oh, let's talk about the apocalypse?
Well, this video, like these interviews, is about people's film perspectives. So we're kind of getting the whole entire reason I call it Lost in the Wasteland is like there's a reason why everything that I do with my channel has the word wasteland in it. But
Yeah.
like,
Jeez.
I
You're
imagine
an
like
edgelord too, Shane.
I imagine like the idea of you have your film wasteland where you get lost in your world of film, and everybody has one. And I like the idea of asking these questions and getting lost in people talking about their love of film. And so, like, each of these episodes is really going to be dictated by who we're talking with and where their love of film comes from. And you love horror and you love Kubrick and things like that probably aren't going to have like the most fun, like cheery kinds of conversations following them.
That's true.
And I
Yeah.
think that's it says what it says about what you enjoy. And like I just posted my interview with my friend Alex and talked a lot of Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
And my brother was very much all either John Hughes or Tim Burton. And that's my brother in a nutshell.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and it's like you get those things and like I love sci-fi and fantasy. I love getting lost in those kinds of stories, and it's very interesting because I know a few people who love horror a lot, and there is something very particular about what those kinds of films, how they make you feel and where they take you is very different than watching a rom-com.
Which that's like my sister loves rom-coms and I will not. Like capital W, capital N, like will not. Yeah. No, but I get it.
We watch Crazy Stupid Love together.
No. Yeah, and you know what? She was a fucking sexual. Ooh, am I allowed to say that? The F word?
This channel is not for children, so you can say whatever you want.
Well, no. Yeah, like she was a sexual predator for giving the child she babysat naked pictures of her. Like we could write I could have a whole discussion about how like the like really insidious sexual and gender norms that rom-coms promote, but like I can't. I'm just, I'm trying to have a relaxing evening.
Well, so let's go on to our next question then.
Okay.
So, who's your favorite actor or actress? Or you could pick one each if you'd like.
Okay. Now, do you mean favorite in terms of skill or favorite in terms of like how hot I think they are?
See, now you're asking me questions.
Oh,
So,
sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
however you define your favorite, whether it's you enjoy their work or you just enjoy watching them work.
No. Actually, the answer is the same for both those questions. So I don't know why I asked you for clarification. Just to flex, I guess. I love Oscar Isaac. I think he's a whole meal. He's not even a snack. He's a whole meal. I think I'm struggling to think of something else to say about him because that's really like,
I was actually talking about him shortly before we went on here because from what all the rumors are going around, he just got cast as a Marvel superhero.
Wasn't he? He was a villain. He was
Apocalypse.
In Apocalypse, yeah. And that X-Men is Marvel.
Well, it's not the MCU, so.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Shane. I don't keep up with the hot garbage that is the DC Marvel universe right now, but actually, yes, I do. But
slightly offended.
Okay, well.
But Oscar Isaac is a great actor.
Yeah.
And, like, Ex Machina, and I don't know, but him doing that whole dance scene in it gets me every time. He's just so committed to it. I'm like, damn, he has some moves.
I think he's so like versatile, I think. Here we go. I can say something intelligent about him. I really liked him. My favorite performance of his is when he was in A Most Violent Year. Did you see that?
Yes.
That's such an underrated movie, I think. Because I really like that movie because I feel like the whole like humanizing the villain thing has been many filmmakers, and actors have attempted it, obviously, but I feel like, and I don't necessarily mean he was meant to be a villain. I mean like society would view him as a villain. But like that was, I feel like it was very humanizing without being like saccharine or like pandering, if that makes sense.
100%.
Yeah, so Oscar Isaac did a great job with that. But like he's just, he's a hottie too. I'll be honest.
And it's kind of funny because he's one of a couple of people that people have told me I look like them. And I'm just
he does
like,
not look like Oscar Isaac. Like, no offense.
Like, normally it's people tell me I look like Jermaine Clement.
Who?
From Flight of the Conchords.
Oh, fuck, you totally do. You totally do.
Definitely the mutton chops.
Yeah, I could totally see that. You do not look like Oscar Isaac. Like, no one does. Like, no one looks like him.
I think my mom said that. I'm like,
moms are biased. Moms are like, oh, they think their kid's the most handsome in the world. Like, not that you're not handsome. I'm just saying, like, Oscar Isaac, like, no one's on his level. No one.
He's a very attractive man.
Yeah. I don't know.
And he's a very talented actor. And I'm looking forward to seeing him in Dune.
And yeah.
Along with, like, the other 27 other really famous people in that movie.
Yeah.
And so, but we'll have to wait until October next year.
Will. I was going to say, I was like, it is October, right? Right?
2021. Because that's where we're at now. Now, what film could you watch literally every day and not get tired of?
I don't think there is a movie. There's nothing I could watch every day and not get tired of.
That is a reasonable answer.
Sorry.
But is there a film that you always find yourself going back and rewatching?
Okay. I don't think there really is as an adult. Because when I want to like rewatch something for like comfort, for lack of a better word, I will watch like Star Trek or Supernatural.
Okay.
But in terms of like when I was a little kid, that definitely happened, and I would watch The Swan Princess over and over again. Have you ever seen that?
I think I have.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
It is like it's not like great when you go back and watch as an adult. dramatically almost dying and then like being rescued because some dude like just liked me that much.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I don't what is. And I thought the songs were like absolute bops too. But I remember like thinking as a kid, like just loving like the drama of it all, just
Mm-hmm.
like you know pretending to faint on the floor, like that. And I don't know what that says about me, but that was my hobby as a child.
It's a fun hobby. Now, what's a particular film that you feel extra connected to because it relates to another interest of yours?
Okay. Uh Let me think. So I really like the Silence of the Lambs. Um like the whole I would say more it's the character of Hannibal Lecter because I really like the Silence of the Lambs and I really like the TV show Hannibal. Although they're like I think they're very different interpretations, but I think you know, I think partially it's the whole aspect of like behavioral science and like behavioral profiling and like how accurate is that actually? Um, you know, and then also I think a big thing about Hannibal Lecter is that he kind of defies categorization. You know, he doesn't fit any of the typical diagnoses, whether we're talking about the 1991 Silence of the Lambs Hannibal Lecter or the 2012, you know, Hannibal Lecter. Like, he's not a sociopath. You know, he's not technically a narcissist, you know, but like he's not a monster either. Like, he's a human being. So I just really liked how, for me, it's sort of just like his whole existence, his whole character calls into question the validity of the field of psychology and forensic profiling.
And I know a lot of people really enjoy like all those kinds of like true crime and like serial killer stuff. And
Mhm.
it's like, have you watched Mindhunter?
Yeah, I did.
And now it's probably over. Real sad.
Yeah,
And
big
and
sad.
and it's just like thinking about like the human mind and like Anthony Hopkins is just so creepy as Hannibal Lecter, yet so classy at the
And so
same.
charming, I feel like.
Mhm. And like Mads Mikkelsen in the Hannibal show really captures that as well.
Yeah.
The show's messed up.
That show's like ridiculous. I think it's the horniest TV show I've ever seen, which like is saying something. Um,
Sexual tension off the charts at
yeah,
all.
yeah. I feel like the main characters are just so stressed that they like it's like sublimation. Like they're so stressed and so tormented that they're just uncontrollably horny. Like every single one. Um, but yeah, like you know, I'm a social worker, as I've mentioned, and probably will mention like 4 more times. And I yeah, like because I personally have a lot of critiques of like the mental health system and also the conceptualization of mental health and mental disorders and like what actually is normal and abnormal in terms of psychiatric diagnoses. And Hannibal Lecter is, you know, just cool and entertaining to watch as a character, but also he defies categorization. And it's like, well, what do you do with someone like that? I don't know.
You put a face mask on them.
Yeah, like you just I don't know. So that's my answer to that.
Now, what is a particular movie character that you feel like you have a personal connection with, if any?
Let me think. I don't know. I think I'm trying to think, like, I don't really think I do. Um, this is gonna sound so like self-aggrandizing, but I think I've always thought of myself as just like such a weird person, like, and a unique person. Oh God, I hate how that sounds, but I can definitely find elements of characters to relate to in almost any movie I watch. You know, as I said earlier, like I cry at dog food commercials. Like I can definitely connect easily with characters, but I don't think I've ever seen a character where I was like, that's so me. Like, or hashtag twinning, you know, like I've never had that experience that I can remember.
And that's fair. And I think you bring up a good point that if a film does what it's supposed to do, you should be feeling a connection to some of the characters and
Mm-hmm.
finding those relations, because then they're well fleshed out characters that you can find relatable and you actually care about them. Because what's better than a bunch of characters you don't give a shit about, and like maybe in a horror movie, cannon fodder, and
Yeah, yeah.
let them go. You know, when you're watching a movie, a horror movie, and it's real bad when you actually want them all to bite the bullet.
Yeah, yeah. But like I think even that counts because if you hate them enough to want them to die, I still think the filmmaker has done their job. You know?
Unless you're supposed to like them.
Okay, that's true. But like I think whatever I think the worst thing is if you just don't care what happens to them. Yeah, like I totally agree. Like if you're supposed to like them and you don't, like that's a flaw, but at least it's entertaining still,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Okay, okay. So speaking of that, can we talk about the lighthouse? I need to get this off my chest.
Go right ahead.
Why did you even like the lighthouse, Shane? Why don't you enlighten the world about why you liked the lighthouse?
Let's see. So, from the second that the film started, I felt like I was fully engrossed in one of the most technically impressive films I've ever watched.
Okay,
And
I'll give them that.
from the sense of the black and white cinematography, the aspect ratio, the sound, that whole the like throughout the whole entire film was unnerving and built up tension. And Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe just go all in
They
on
do.
their performances, and some of the most visually striking shots in film that I saw in all of 2019 was when Willem Dafoe's like going ham yelling, and just like the light, how it flashes up his face, and it looks like this was some kind of old painting out of like the early like the early 20th century, and just like this is unnerving. And like it's going to sound really stupid, but I did not expect to actually be affected by a bunch of fart jokes, because like there's a lot of farting. But the thing is, it's such a basic human thing, and when you're just there on this island for how long you don't even know anymore, and it's just turning and turning, and that tension is building and building, and I just felt like I was set up to just something's going to explode. And it was frightening, the level of tension in that film. And it's it's interesting thinking about it now after quarantine. And like I'm
Mm,
very lucky to be held up with somebody that I love very much.
yeah.
But imagining being stuck in a place with someone you don't get along with nonstop for weeks and weeks and weeks, and you just see that tension building up, and like Robert Eggers made a technically unbelievable film, and I felt like I was on a ride that on some level I wish I could get off of, but morbidly I can't. And
Yeah.
just that experience from start to finish was, and the craziest thing was Jess and I got stuck in the front row,
Oh yeah.
and we're like
Oh my God.
the whole entire movie. And it was one of the most unbelievable experiences I had in a theater all last year, which is why it was so high on my list, because like it easily made my top 10 of 2019. And
I know. I just want to say every day Shane and Jess send me memes about this goddamn movie.
to be fair, I don't send them. I just enjoy them.
You definitely sent some of them. Yeah, but Jess is my main tormentor.
Well, and to be fair, I turned to Jess. I'm like, "You're gonna torture Paige. You're gonna kill her."
I love it. No, I love it. I'm masochistic like that. I love it.
But those are my feelings on The Lighthouse.
Okay.
And Willem Dafoe should have been nominated for Best Supporting Actor.
Okay. Listen, I can't argue with you about the technical skill involved in making that movie. Like, I won't argue with you about that because I totally agree. Like, technically, it was incredibly well done. However, I definitely object to the fact that well, how should I say this? I don't know. I felt like in his first film, The Witch, I felt like it was a very tight movie, narratively. And I felt like every single scene, every single line had a purpose. It was all building to this just like, just absolute clusterfuck. Satanic goat murder clusterfuck. And it didn't disappoint. But The Lighthouse, I felt like had a lot of just surrealism and ridiculousness for ridiculousness's sake. And I felt like the ending was so disappointing. I felt like none of my questions were answered. And in my opinion, I think that I think it was a cheap way to end the movie. I don't like movies where none of my questions are answered just for the sake of like, ooh, being mysterious. Like, it's a really lazy way to be mysterious, I think. I never watched it.
Sorry.
But I've heard that it was just like enigma after enigma for no fucking reason.
Don't watch
it. Thank you. Trigger warning. And I think like part of that is like my own personality flaw. Like, I just want to know the answers to everything, and I don't think every single question always needs to be answered. But I feel like it's like a lazy and cheap way to add mystery and depth. Like, I would have at least liked one answer or like some sort of certainty about what was going on. But like, that's subjective. Like, I think some people enjoy that, and that's fine. I don't judge.
If I were to have like a serious spoiler talk, I would talk about the ending, but I'll refrain from doing that since it's a still pretty recent film.
Yeah.
Which you could watch on Amazon right now.
Do it. Yeah, come on, viewers, please watch this movie and tell us in the comments who's right and why it's me. I'm just kidding.
Now, what's a film that you feel like people would be surprised to find out that you like?
Ooh. That's hard to say because I think no one is surprised by anything I do anymore, at least people who know me. But oh man. I don't know. Like, I don't know because I hate rom-coms. There's not a single rom-com I like. Oh, okay. Here's one that maybe would be surprising. Maybe. But have you ever seen Zach and Miri Make a Porno?
I've seen parts of it.
Okay. I really like that movie. And like this is sorry, like in advance, this is a weird thing to say. But there's a sex scene in the movie between the two main characters, Zach and Miri, who they were childhood friends. You know, they've been and now they like live together, but they're like secretly in love with each other and they have sex on camera for this porno that they're making to like raise money. And I feel like the sex scene between them is like 99% of the time when I see sex scenes in movies, I'm just like, oh my God, like turn it off. This is stupid. Like, I don't want to see this. It adds nothing to the narrative. But I feel like Seth Rogen and Elizabeth Banks, like, it was one of the most emotional and like touching sex scenes I've ever seen in my life. I know that's like really, it's like fucking such a weird thing to say, but it's really emotional.
It connects.
And you should watch it. Like, I think it's also funny.
Well, it's a Kevin Smith film, I'm pretty sure too.
Yeah.
And like later, Kevin Smith has not been the best.
No.
And I remember watching parts of it, like serious chunks of it. I remember a very specific scene of something happening to a cameraman's face because he was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, no, it's like it's filthy. I watched this movie with my parents, by the way. I just want to add that. So like that was torture. Yeah.
I don't know if that beats watching Killing of the Sacred Deer with your mom in a theater.
Why do we do this to ourselves? I refuse to watch any movie I haven't already seen with my parents because it always turns out there's just like you're gonna see 20 dicks if your parents are there, you know? Like it's just you're gonna have to. It's just like the law of like Murphy's Law.
Everything turns into Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Just anyway, so I think that was like that's just a random thing. But I was surprised by it too.
Okay.
That's my answer.
Now, my last question for you is,
Okay.
what do you love most about movies?
Damn, you should have given these to me beforehand. I don't know. I think honestly I just like to dissect things and it's a good vehicle for that. Like I like to watch I just really like to talk about things and like psychoanalyze things and it's just fun to do that. And also I just like going to the movies and being in the movie theater. Like it's just like it fills me with like a childish glee. So I think it's a good way for me to like, you know, indulge my love of like dissecting things and psychoanalyzing things without actually having to like gossip about other people. Although I still do that. Like you know that. I'll be real. But yeah. I don't know. I've never thought about that before actually. Like why do I like movies? That's the best I can come up with on the fly.
And I appreciate that. And I've been enjoying talking about movies with you.
Yeah, I know this is fun. Like I really again, super self-aggrandizing, but like I don't feel like most people have like and like for good reason they don't like know a ton about cinema because it's very I don't think it's like very interesting or like it's not damn it you have to edit this so I don't sound like a fucking pompous ass but it's very it's not something you can just casually talk about. I feel like if you're like a real cinephile, like there's so many aspects to it and like you can talk about one movie for like 5 hours if you get into every single aspect of it. And most people like don't have the time or inclination to do that, which is fine.
Fair.
You know, but I do because I'm really smart and a social worker. Did I mention that?
Now, Paige,
Yes.
You did technically already ask me a question.
Okay.
If you would like to leave your wild card question, ask your Wasteland Reviewer about the Lighthouse, or do you have another question you'd want to ask me?
Oh yeah. I feel like I actually asked you multiple questions, but like
Fair.
let's just ignore that. Let's play it fast and loose, Shane. Um, I think I want to know, yeah, what was the first movie you remember watching? Like ever, like in theaters or at home or whatever.
Like the earliest memory I have seeing a movie was going to see Space Jam
Okay.
in the theater. And I remember seeing Indian in the Cupboard pretty early on. Like, there's definitely like checkpoint films where it's like, what was my first R-rated movie? Pretty sure it was Air Force One. Watched that with my dad.
That's
Except,
rated R?
yeah,
Why?
because there's violence and blood and
Oh, I
what
guess.
I is there cursing in it? Maybe, but like Deep Blue Sea, I remember watching that. Poor Samuel L. Jackson. Like my grandfather made me watch The Godfather when I was 10 years old
To what end?
because it's my heritage.
Oh, that's true. You are a mob boss. Spoiler alert. You guys know the truth about Shane now. He's killed many and ordered the killings of even more.
I made him an offer I can't refuse.
Ah,
And like, because I'm Italian, I had to watch The
yeah,
Godfather when I was 10 years old. But
yeah.
like, I used to love November is my birthday month, and
He's a Scorpio. Classic Scorpio, if I'm honest.
really,
It's true. Yeah.
um, but November was Bond month too, and I grew up watching James Bond movies way too young.
Yeah.
I used to watch them all the time. So like James Bond has a very special place in my heart growing up watching movies because like I watched all of them as a kid over and over and over again. It's like you look at my VHS collection, it was all Disney movies and James Bond movies. And that's Shane as a kid.
That's why he's so healthy and well adjusted.
I would like to think so, but
No, yeah, I feel like everybody has that where they're like that movie or film series that they shouldn't have been watching as a kid, but definitely were. So it's cool that yours is James Bond.
well, my brother and my cousin forced me to watch American Pie when I was way too young as well. So
Ew. Oh,
those movies.
yikes.
Well, and it made a bond for us because the three of us went to go see American Reunion in theaters when that came out. And like I watched American Pie when I was too young. I watched a lot of things before I probably should have. I used to, because like my mom loves action movies, and you all will have a ball if I ever bring my mother on to Boston movies. Like, I watched Rambo, True Lies.
Oh my
Like
God.
I watched all kinds of action movies growing up. Die Hard, love action movies, and it's just like watch those as a kid. It's
Yeah.
just it is what it is, and
You're fine. You
I
did
feel
I don't think it damaged you.
like I'm not a particularly violent person. Don't really
No.
like violence,
Yeah.
and like it's an escape, and like I some of my ideas for movies are action movies because I think they're really cool. And if anybody has watched my channel before and listened to me review action movies, know I'm an action movie snob. Like
You a film snob? Oh my God, I never would have thought that.
specifically for action movies. Because like in general, I feel like I would like to think that I'm pretty level-headed in terms of how I review movies and I give movies their due, but don't you
Yeah.
dare quick edit my action movies because like I want to see what's happening.
You don't like having like 18 cuts per second in your action movies? Oh my God.
Just the thing that popped in my head was Liam Neeson hopping a fence in Taken 3.
You've seen Taken 3? I
No,
couldn't put
I've only
myself through
watched
that.
that
Oh,
clip from Taken 3 and watching how many cuts they had to make fake Liam Neeson jump over a fence.
like why even bother at that point? Like to
Why show
what
the
end are you
fence?
doing that?
Why show the fence? Just cut to the next cut to the next place where he's running.
Yeah, or like just move the fence. I don't know. That's asinine, truly.
But like that's why I love John Wick. It's why I love Mad Max, because like there's a craft to it. But like I grew up on stuff like that, and like I remember seeing Shrek in theaters when I was 10 years old and loving every second of it, but my mom being like, "What the hell am I showing my kid?"
Not
'Cause
that bad. It's a kids movie. It's not like fuck. I mean, it is fucked
Lord
up.
Farquaad. Well, first off, think of that name and
Oh,
what
like fuckwad. Okay.
that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like, and he ejaculates in that movie.
No, wait. Ew. What?
So there's the scene, camera's panning through his room, and that's when you see that the mother bear was killed because it's now his rug.
Yeah.
And he's like in his like silk looking like blanket watching Fiona in the mirror. And he
Yeah.
was like, and he like looks down. I'm just like,
No.
and then the eat me, like that whole entire exchange with Gingy and like and the whole phallic symbols and all the
Okay. Wait,
small
Shane.
dick jokes and like Shrek is so much better as an adult because you enjoy all the kid stuff still, and then you get to understand all of those adult jokes they make through the whole entire movie that are really inappropriate.
I didn't, dude. You just like ruined my life. Like, I hope you're happy.
And like Shrek 2, the whole tonight on nights, because it's like it's a spoof on cops and
Yeah.
donkeys yelling police brutality. They find catnip in Puss's boot,
Yeah.
and it's like they're getting drug charges and like those kinds of things are all in there, and it just works on such another level. And as an adult, like that first Shrek movie is dirty.
I had no idea you were such like a Shrek apologist.
Oh, I'm like Will Smith from I Am Legend. I can reenact the whole entire movie for you.
That's okay. I don't even think, thank you.
I
But
won't
no.
do it, I promise. I told you earlier I would not do that to you, so I'm not going
Yeah,
to.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I was like, I thought we were friends, man. Like, come on, don't you already tortured me with the lighthouse.
But I appreciate your question. So, we all have our movies that we grow up with.
Yeah.
But Paige, I appreciate you coming on the show. And
Thank you.
I
It
hope
was
you
fun.
I'm glad you thought it was fun. I'm glad you enjoyed it. So, well, everyone, thank you for tuning in to Lost in the Wasteland, and hopefully you keep tuning in and getting to learn all these new perspectives on movies from all the people in my life and also potentially some other people moving on into the future. But obviously, you start with all the people that you really care about and you're close with and you enjoy talking movies. So, thank you all for supporting and tuning in to your Wasteland Reviewer.